Hello, welcome back to the channel. I'm Hunter Wright. This is my brother Chase Wright. This is Sports Done Right. And we've got a great show for you today, says every host of every show ever.
This is true.
So lined up for today, we have the top 5 cornerbacks of all time. I made a list, Chase made a list. This is stemming from the Darrell Revis Joe Thomas debate we had last week. We've got Tua Tagovailoa and Justin Herbert. Are they signs of player safety regression in the NFL? Lamar Jackson is playing his game and winning. Is he going to get that max contract he wants? And does the NFL Defensive Rookie of the Year reside in Duval, plus the Offensive and Defensive Players of the Week in the NFL? So without further ado, let's get into the top 5 cornerbacks of all time. At number 5, I have Darrell Revis. Chase has Charles Woodson. Care to explain why you left Darrell Revis off your top 5?
Darrell Revis, like I said last time, had a very good prime. He had a very good seasons where he was the top cornerback in the league. No one would throw it to him. But let's look over at who I have at the real deserving number 5. Charles Woodson, who played 19 seasons in the NFL. 19 seasons in the NFL. Correct me if I'm wrong there, but pretty sure. And he had great seasons with the Packers, great seasons with the Raiders, and he regressed some, but he never really regressed. A bunch of Pro Bowls, and he stayed consistent throughout his long career and had a longer prime than Darrell Revis.
Yeah, but still, Darrell Revis at his prime was just on another level.
Darrell Revis had a better prime, probably had one of the best primes than any other cornerback. But
Revis was a 7-time Pro Bowler and 4-time All-Pro. And even though he only had 29 interceptions in his career, that's because nobody wanted to throw the ball anywhere near him.
Well, whose fault is that?
And for being so freaking good. Revis Island for a reason. At number 4, I have Mel Blunt.
Whoa. Not done here. Also, Charles Woodson, he wasn't a huge ball hawk like Darrell Revis. He was an all-around cornerback, more physical.
I will say he was much better tackler than Revis, yeah.
I'm just saying, if they said pick, Darrell Revis at his best, pick Charles Woodson at his best.
Woodson could double as a safety if need be.
Yeah, I feel like Woodson does more for my team.
Revis I could not see playing safety, but Woodson could double as a safety.
I can see Darrell Revis at free safety, maybe in the defense.
I mean, depending on the scheme.
I'm just saying, I'm taking Charles Woodson. I feel like he benefits my team more. Plus, I think he had a better career. But now we can move on to
number 4, I have Mel Blunt. Chase has Mel Blunt. Now, Mel Blunt was a 5-time Pro Bowler, a 2-time All-Pro, and he was a member of the 1980s All-Decade team, despite retiring after the 1983 season. You mean to tell me you played 4 years and you're still the best cornerback to play in a decade?
That's either lack of talent in the 80s or just a big stamp on Blunt.
And Mel Blunt also, he recorded 57 career interceptions. And in 1978, the NFL changed the rules of pass coverage where they outlawed contact beyond 5 yards of the line of scrimmage, taking away the bump and run method that Mel Blunt used to just absolutely brutalize receivers. I mean, he was just beating them all up and down the field, pillar to the post. Trying to run routes on Mel Blunt was like going 9 rounds with Tyson. It was just
he was super physical. I like watching his highlights.
So when the NFL in 1978 instituted rule changes to neutralize Mel Blunt, and you know what happened?
Oh, he got even better.
3 of his 5 career Pro Bowls came after they changed the rules.
Okay, you're gonna do this. I'm gonna do this.
I'm not a one-trick pony. I can cover. Like if I have to cover, I can cover. So Blunt was an actual game changer. People say game changer. They talk about someone that that changes the way that you game plan. That changes the way you got to play this team on this day. No, Mel Blunt changed the sport. That's a game changer. At number 3, I have Rod Woodson. Chase has Dick Night Train Lane. Far too low, in my opinion.
Far too low. There's a one different.
That's still one too many. Like for corners, I feel it goes Dion, Night Train, then we can debate number 3.
I don't know. Rod Woodson had more Pro Bowls, more interceptions, more really all these.
Yes, Rod Woodson had 11 Pro Bowls and 6 All Pros. Night Train had 7 Pro Bowls and 3 All Pros. He didn't play as long as Woodson, though. Woodson was voted to the All 90s team.
Plus, I feel like Rod did it more against better talent too.
Night Train was voted to the All 50s team.
50.
Yes, 50. Hey, don't roll your eyes at Night Train.
I'm not. I'm just saying, like, they're not even chucking it like that in the 50s.
And I'm glad you said that. Yeah, they're not throwing the ball that much in the 1950s. And the seasons were much shorter, much fewer games. And yet, despite that, as a rookie in 1952, Night Train set an NFL record that is yet to be broken, despite how pass happy the league is now. 14 interceptions in one season.
Because there's no quarterback IQ. They're just chucking it up there, probably to the same side. People know what they're doing now.
Still, you got quarterbacks throwing 500, 600 passes in a season. Still, no one has come close to breaking that record.
It's way more difficult now, especially for Rod Woodson.
Night Train also would brutalize receivers like Mel Blunt. He had a deadly clothesline.
He was aggressive. But now I'm taking Rod Woodson. I just feel like he's a better cornerback.
Well, I've got Night Train at 2, and Chase has Rod Woodson at 2. And Woodson, he was a member of the All-90s team. He had 71 career interceptions, which ranks 3rd all-time. And he returned them for 1,485 yards and 12 touchdowns. It's very impressive. He also played safety.
Contributed a lot to a very successful Steelers team.
And he also played for the Ravens and the Raiders.
Take him out of some of those teams. I mean, I don't know how good they really are.
He was a very key member of those teams. Still, though, I feel like Night Train is just the consummate number 2 at this position. And at number 1, we both have Deion Sanders, prime time, Neon Deion, Leon Sandcastle himself. Remember that commercial? Deion, 8 Pro Bowls, 6 All Pros, and a member of the All 90s team. He made the All 90s team twice as a corner and a punt returner. 53 career interceptions and 9 touchdowns.
And this is a man that was also swinging the bat.
He
still made this at number 1. Deion was just one of one.
Deion was an otherworldly athlete. Also, Deion would play cat and mouse with the quarterback. He would tease the quarterbacks. Deion would let a receiver get open on him, just so the quarterback would think he's open, throw him the ball, and then Deion would kick it into another level, catch back up to the receiver, and intercept the pass. Man, he was toying with offenses. And the coaches would ask him, why are you letting the receiver get that much separation? Because if I just blanket him the whole game, I don't get no work.
I feel like I really wish he had a good Atlanta team.
No work, no interceptions. No interceptions, no... I mean, he was going to have the fame and the money anyway, but...
It's no fun out there if you don't get no work.
No fun. I mean, it's not enough to look good, feel good, play good, get paid good. He wants to have fun. He wants to get that work. He's not getting that work if he just locks him up on Revis Island. Maybe Revis would have more interceptions if he had the speed that Deion had to give a receiver the illusion of being
There's no shot you just try to add Revis. We were done talking about Revis.
No, I'm saying Revis didn't get tested. Deion wanted you to test him because he was testing you.
Ravens didn't get tested because he's a mid. He's out of the top 5.
There's no way you just called him mid.
I called him mid.
No way. The disrespect.
In the top 5, you mid.
Moving on Thursday Night Football, the Dolphins' undefeated streak came to an end against the Cincinnati Bengals. Last week versus the Bills, Tua Tagovailoa, the Dolphins' quarterback, appeared to land on his head and was stumbling all over the field like a drunkard in the parking lot after last call. Yep. But the Dolphins kept him in the game after only 2 pass attempts from Teddy Bridgewater. A move they were scrutinized for. And kind of rightfully so. They called it a back injury, which, I mean...
Oh, man, that's cool.
I've never seen a back injury quite look like that. And they called it a back injury despite him holding his head. He didn't walk off like, oh, man, I think I slipped a disc. No, he was...
Dolphins already made themselves look bad there.
And then this week, Tua would exit the game against the Bengals that the Dolphins lost 27-15, and Tua had this to say. I want to thank everyone for all their prayers and support since the game last night. It was difficult not to be able to finish the game and be there with my teammates, but I am grateful for the support and care I've received from the Dolphins, my friends and family, and all the people who have reached out. I'm feeling much better and focused on recovering so I can get back out on the field with my teammates.
I hope you can get back on that field too with the center back.
He left that game on a stretcher. They carted him off. It was ugly.
I don't know when he's going to be back.
I don't know either, but Dr. Chris Nowitzki has taken shots at the NFL over the way Miami handled the Tua situation. He had this to say. And this was before the Bengals game, if Tua takes the field tonight, it's a massive step back for concussion care in the NFL. If he has a second concussion that destroys his season or career, everyone involved will be sued and should lose their jobs, coaches included. We all saw it. Even they must know this isn't right. And then, after the game, Mike McDaniel said it's good Tua doesn't have anything more serious than a concussion. I don't think this guy gets it. A concussion is a traumatic brain injury, and posturing suggests brain stem injury. It's pretty high on the list of serious medical consequences of football. I'd say it's number 1 on the list, probably.
Yeah, I don't want anything going on with my head.
And Nowitzki is out for blood over this Tua situation.
Rightfully so, though. I mean, you saw how he was in the Bills game. And he comes back. I understand that. And I feel like they would have been better off if they hadn't said it was a back injury and everything like that. But then you have a Thursday night game. Not Sunday. You get a shorter week. I just feel like it's necessary to at least sit him out one game before you rush him back in after an injury like that.
Yeah, you turn around after only 3 days.
That's just not right.
You can't have a serious injury like that and then turn around after only 3 days and play him again. And Dr. Nowitzki is not alone. A lot of experts and analysts, both football and medical, have come out and all basically saying the same thing. This isn't right. They should be handling the Tua situation better. You see here, Warren Sharp says, you really, really don't need to show us how his fingers are stretching out.
That was hard.
Pete Prisco, very respected journalist in the state of Florida, says he should not have been playing. My favorite one is from Marcus Spears. My God, man. Lord, please let this young man be okay.
That's my exact thoughts, man. I mean, he's having such a good year proving people wrong, and then just something like this happens. I see him go down. I'm not even thinking about is he going to, return later, like the next game or something. I'm thinking, is his season okay?
Yep. This is his career we're talking about at this point. And it was ugly. It was ugly to watch. I mean,
think about that if you're Miami, man.
I mean, last Last week he could barely walk off the field. This time he had to get carted off the field.
I understand you might have like
And in the moment,
passed some of your tests, but
everything. There's no way he should have been cleared last week. This week they didn't even try. But and there's always a game time decision. You have to protect the players from themselves, and everyone's coming after Mike McDaniel. Now McDaniel, yeah, everyone knows Tua shouldn't have gone out there, but in the moment, in the heat of battle, McDaniel has a decision to make, and there are team doctors.
it isn't on McDaniel.
It's not entirely on McDaniel.
People need to get that out.
It's not entirely on McDaniel.
He's got a voice.
He deserves some of the blame, but not all. Not all.
Well, yeah, because he's part of the organization.
Like, you still put him back in the game instead of leaving a perfectly capable backup out there.
I don't know if Teddy was perfectly capable, but
well, it's about as capable as backup quarterbacks come.
It's pretty ugly to watch
Teddy
night.
Teddy is the consummate backup. But McDaniel, in the heat of battle, game time decision, in the moment, there are doctors, team doctors, that are approved by the team and approved by the league. They get paid to decide whether or not a player is good to go. And if one of these doctors, who their whole job is red light or green light on this guy, and they give him the green light, McDaniel, in the heat of the moment, how much is he really going to question that? It's like, okay, the professional says that he's good to go, and if he's willing to go back out there, then let's do this. Let's keep fighting. Let's stay in this fight.
Especially, and I think another thing that really boils down to it, it's a Thursday night prime game in Cincinnati. You know, everyone's watching. And you really want to win that game. I understand that, but I mean, at what cost, really?
Got to protect the players from themselves, and it's not just Tua. Think about Justin Herbert, who he's still suffering from the cracked ribs that he sustained in a Thursday night game against the Kansas City Chiefs.
And I was shocked when I saw him play against us, man. I really thought Chase Daniel was going to take the field.
Last week, when the Chargers played the Jaguars, their offensive line was the entire team's banged up, but the offensive line is banged up.
I feel bad for him.
They're missing their star center, Corey Linsley.
My Super Bowl pick.
Justin Herbert, your franchise quarterback, your young franchise quarterback. Like, this team lives and dies with this man. He's got cracked ribs, and they played him against the Jaguars. And yeah, I thought they were going to play Chase Daniels and sit Herbert out a week, but they didn't. And even though the Chargers were getting their butts handed to them on a silver platter,
dude played the whole game.
In a 38-10 blowout loss, the Chargers not once pulled Herbert.
They didn't even try to incorporate.
They didn't even take him out in garbage time. They're still throwing the ball. They didn't
switch up the game plan at all.
They didn't try to run the ball at all against Jacksonville. But you at least take them out during garbage time.
Because our run defense is too good.
You're losing by 20 points. It's the fourth quarter. You're not winning this game. Like, 4 minutes left in the game, and you're still throwing the. Not only is your injured franchise quarterback still in a winless game, but you're still throwing the ball.
Especially fourth quarter, man. That game was out of reach and everything. Just put 4 in, bro. I mean, you saw what happened to Herbert last week. If you're not in a position to win the football game, take him out, man. He's hurting.
Yeah, and you saw every time he got hit, he was. I mean, this man was in pain.
We were getting on him,
and it reminds us.
That puts a target on someone too.
It reminds us of Andrew Luck. Like, Andrew Luck was one of the best quarterbacks in the league for a number of years.
Those are some nice cleats.
You wouldn't notice shoes. Andrew Luck is one of the best quarterbacks in the league. He was a generational talent. He had to retire early because of this kind of thing. He was injured. He was banged up, and the team drastically mismanaged his career. Like, they never let him get back to 100%. First of all, they never invested in an offensive line for him.
No,
until
no,
it was too late.
no.
But they mishandled his injuries. They mismanaged his career, and the man was in constant pain, living with constant pain because of it. And he retired early.
Feel bad for
And
Luck.
Luck's doing good now. He feels great now. He's in probably the best shape he's been in since college. But for a long while there, the man was living with constant pain to the point that he gave up his dream of being an NFL quarterback. It just wasn't worth it. And is that what we're seeing with Tua? I mean,
Nah,
this could be Herbert.
no, I don't think that. I don't think it's on the same scale. It could be if
This
they don't fix stuff, but this
this
is
could be
really their
Herbert,
first big injuries. You got to think Andrew Luck's timeline just started adding on, adding on, adding on.
and that's true. And Herbert hasn't missed a game in the NFL yet due to injury. But Tua's another story. I mean, Tua could very well be the next Andrew Luck. Think about this. Tua hasn't played a full season of football since 2018, his sophomore year at Alabama. During that season, he played 15 games, completed 69% of his passes, 3,966 yards, 11.2 yards per pass attempt, 43 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. He came in second in Heisman voting. That was 2018. In 2019, he only played 9 games as a junior at Alabama. In 2020, he only played 10 games as a rookie in the NFL. And in 2021, he only played 13 games.
I thought did Tua not win Heisman?
Came in second. But yeah, he's been injured each of the last 3 years. This is now 4 years in a row. I mean, he's on pace with the Andrew Luck timeline, sliding up.
He's on track, but I don't still don't fully see it yet. Man. I mean, I know everyone's talking about the head injury right now, but
If they're not careful and they don't do something, then
he very well could be on that path. But they gotta preserve him more, man. NFL teams need to focus on not winning, you know, this week or the next week and thinking about that, man. You gotta preserve your season and more importantly, preserve your quarterback, your top player. Maybe this season, takes a hit if you sit him out a little while, but at least it doesn't take a hit fully on his health. Because if that's your guy, you don't want anything happen to him because you want longevity.
we don't need another Andrew Luck situation. And hopefully that's not Herbert or Tua's future. But in any event, moving on, Lamar Jackson.
Ooh,
Oh my lord. He wanted he was acting as his own agent, trying to get a new contract from the Baltimore Ravens, and he made it very clear what he wants.
man, can't even blame him no more. I used to question Lamar, but now I don't.
He wants to be the highest paid quarterback in NFL history.
I just want to say this real quick. I used to like, why do you not have an agent if you're a player like Lamar? Because usually they can work you deals and stuff that maybe
You still gotta pay them.
you don't know fully of. I know, but they can get benefits for you that you probably don't really realize. But then I really thought to myself, I'm like, if you know your worth, if you're Lamar and everything, you know what you're worth, you know what you come here for, and you know what you stand about, man. Might as well just represent yourself and get what you feel you're worth. And that's exactly what he's doing. And he's showing you what he's doing on the field. And that's why I have no problem with what's going on in Baltimore.
Lamar Jackson knows his worth, but here's the thing though. Lamar feels that he is proven. He has nothing left to prove. I mean, other than winning a playoff game, but get to that.
It's coming.
He feels that he has nothing to prove. That he has shown his value. He has proved his value, proved his worth. He knows what he's worth. And he wants to get paid what he's worth. Now, Lamar Jackson
Turned down a huge contract. I know that.
He turned down a like $290 million deal. Not enough guarantees in the contract. He wants a Deshaun Watson style fully guaranteed deal. But here's why teams aren't willing to do these fully guaranteed deals unless they're the Cleveland Browns who don't care.
Oh man.
The Cleveland's the only one that'll do it. like even the Rams haven't been doing like fully guaranteed deals as big as the one that Cleveland gave Deshaun Watson.
Because of injuries.
But for a fully guaranteed deal, what the team does is they don't pay. It doesn't get like paid to you over time. The fully guaranteed deal, the team has to take the money, produce it to the league, put it off to the side, and freeze it. So you give someone a fully guaranteed deal, you have to take that money out of the account now and freeze that money until it's time to give it to the player. And that's why teams don't want to do. That's one reason why teams don't want to do fully guaranteed deals. Another reason is if you get hurt or you leave or this and that, we still got to pay it to you. But Lamar Jackson has been going off this season.
You gotta take that risk.
Trying to earn that money. Lamar Jackson was the Sports Done Right Offensive Player of the Week in Week 3 and the runner-up in Week 2. He is also the first player in the Super Bowl era with consecutive games of 3 passing touchdowns and 100 rushing yards. Lamar is the fastest player to reach 10,000 career passing yards and 3,500 career rushing yards. It only took him 59 games. It took Michael Vick 143 games.
Can we stop with the Michael? I saw ESPN doing it again. I think the comparisons are done, bro. Lamar is obviously the better quarterback. I know people are gonna hold on to Vic for nostalgia effects. He was the first to do it.
Vic is the only one of the only peer of Lamar.
I understand that, but who's a better quarterback, Lamar or Michael Vick?
Lamar's a better quarterback.
Exactly. So why is that even a question?
Because Vic is the only other running quarterback that you can compare to Lamar. Like, you can't compare passing and rushing of Lamar.
I mean, they never bring up Randall Cunningham. He was really the first one to do it.
Well, Randall Cunningham's rushing yards weren't as high.
I'm not saying he was rushing all the time. I'm just saying if he was really the first one to do it.
He was mobile. Yeah, he could run.
He was the first mobile quarterback.
Well,
you can bring up Fran Tarkin.
That's a different conversation entirely. But Vic was the mobile quarterback that was gaining rushing yards like a running back.
Vic changed the game.
And that's why everyone compares Lamar to Vic. They're the closest to each other. I mean,
I understand the comparisons. I'm just saying, remember, when he was first coming in the league, I remember everyone was comparing it. But I don't want to hear that now. Is he better than Michael Vick? I feel like he's pretty much
now they're showing. Look, he is better than Michael Vick. Look, 10,000 career passing yards and 3,500 career rushing yards in only 59 games. It took Vick 143 games to reach that point.
Vick's team was ass.
I mean, there is that. Those Atlanta Falcons teams weren't exactly.
That's the only thing I'll give Vic. That team was
the Ravens that Lamar's playing with. But Lamar became the second ever unanimous NFL MVP in 2019 when he threw for over 3,000 yards. He rushed for 1,206 yards, most ever by a quarterback. He had 43 total touchdowns and a 13-2 record. And then in 2020, he rushed for 1,005 yards and became the only quarterback to rush for 1,000 yards in more than one season.
Looks like he's on pace for a second MVP if he keeps this up.
And so far this year, through 3 weeks, he is averaging 249.7 passing yards per game. He has 10 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, and he's averaging 81 rushing yards per game. I mean,
I got a question for you.
What else does he have to do?
I got to top. Well, we all know that. Got to win in the playoffs. But my big question for you is: do you think it is worth paying him the fully guaranteed money that he wants in his contract, and you don't know if he will get you a playoff win? Are you fine with paying him all that money? If you're the Ravens right now, are you doing it?
If I'm the Ravens, I think so.
But you have to.
I mean,
you can't keep going.
He's proven durable.
Like, if he's your quarterback, it's not the injuries for me. It's just, do you think you can win with him?
At this point, how many times was Vic laid up at this point? Lamar hasn't been hurt.
Well, that's not the question.
Well, it's a question.
It is a question. But
I mean, with scrambling quarterbacks, durability is always a question. But Lamar seems to be
I know
more
he's got
well put
durability.
together.
I'm just saying.
More well put together than any of the other scrambling quarterbacks we've seen.
Do you pay him all that money not knowing what you're really going to get?
I would, because think about your alternative here.
I would too. I don't get it twisted. I would too.
If you're the Ravens, your entire offense is built around Lamar Jackson.
You live and die with 8.
The entire offense is built around him. He leaves, and you have to just scrap everything, completely rebuild your offense from scratch.
John Harbaugh
from the ground up. You have to completely reinvent your offense. Also, who are you going to get?
My big thing is
if you don't pay him and he leaves, you got to get another quarterback. Who are you going to get that's going to be better than him?
I don't think they're setting him up very well in the playoffs because you notice how defenses, obviously scheme around him for the playoffs. You gotta rebuttal that if you're Baltimore, man, and you're the offensive coordinator. You gotta put it in Lamar's hands to where he can get around that. And yes, it's still on Lamar. He still makes poor decisions in the playoffs, but I don't think he's being put entirely in the right position to win in the playoffs, man. Because I feel like they get there. Okay, we're gonna keep doing the same thing. No, these teams are coming with all these packages for Lamar.
Moving on.
Pay Lamar is the final.
Yeah, we both
pay Lamar.
We are both in the camp of paying Lamar.
I hope everyone is. That's a nice picture.
Give Lamar Jackson a blank check. That's what you should do. Give him a blank check. Moving on. Drafted 27th overall by Jacksonville out of Utah was linebacker Devin Lloyd. Now, at his senior season at Utah, he recorded 111 tackles, 7 sacks, and 4 interceptions. Very impressive season. And so far, through the first 3 games of his NFL career, he had 11 tackles in his NFL debut. Through 3 weeks, he has 24 tackles, 2 interceptions, a league-leading 6 pass deflections. Quarterbacks have a 28.5 passer rating when targeting Devin Lloyd. He has only a 7.7 missed tackle percentage, and he has played 96% of defensive snaps for the Jacksonville Jaguars.
You know what's crazy?
Are we looking at the Defensive Rookie of the Year right here?
Well, if you talk to the NFL, no. But if you talk to me, yes.
He's not a sexy option like Hutchinson or Walker.
No. They're not even the. You know who's number 1 right now in Defensive Rookie of the Year? In the race? What do you pay? What do you pay? I saw it on the list. NFL list. NFL on their Instagram account. They dropped the top 10 rookies right now. And the top defensive option was Kwity Paye. Devin Lloyd was actually the number 2 Jaguar behind Trayvon Walker.
No. He's a Defensive Rookie of the Month.
Makes no sense to me.
Defensive Rookie of the Month. You have him second on his own team.
That makes sense to me. Unless they're trying to predict.
That's probably just a prediction. They're trying to think what's going to happen long term.
Man, long term, I'm seeing 33 continue to put these numbers up because he's flying all over the field.
I mean,
well, we watched
he's been great in pass coverage. Like I said, quarterbacks sub 30 passer rating when targeting Devin Lloyd.
Dude, I feel so bad because I don't think London's gonna get a very good show when we play the Broncos. Because what I've seen out of the Broncos offense and what I've seen out of the Jaguars defense, I don't want to jump the gun or anything, but I don't see them scoring more than 7-10 points.
That Broncos offense doesn't look like it could move the ball against this Jacksonville defense.
Oh, dude, my 8-on-8 team could have stopped the Broncos.
But Devin Lloyd, I mean, he looks like the Defensive Rookie of the Year to me. And I was more excited when the Jaguars drafted Devin Lloyd than I was for Trayvon Walker.
I can kind of agree on that.
When we drafted Walker, I wanted Hutchinson.
I know you did.
I was
And I was never really
I was
high on
not
both.
I was not thrilled to get Trayvon Walker. I thought you've got to be kidding me. Bucky actually did it.
Yeah, you
Oh,
can't get mad at him though right now. The pieces that he's brought in, man, I owe Balky an apology right now because it's working.
I ain't apologizing to him. I stand by everything I said about him and his incompetence.
He's made the right decision so far.
How much of this is him? How much of this is Doug Peterson's influence?
He brought the pieces in. Peterson is making it work. It's really a tag team effort. What's that?
I still stand. I still stand by. I don't think Trent
You got
Baalke
no
is.
rebuttal.
I don't think Baalke is a capable GM. I mean,
He's capable right now.
one good draft year.
It's not the draft year. I'm talking more importantly, free agency.
Now, free agency.
I'm talking about the pieces he's brought in all together. Free agency, draft.
Free agency, we hit the nail on the head. This year has been a good year.
Yes. We leaving the past. Look, Balky in the past, I understand you want to criticize him for that, but you got to think what he's brought in so far now in this new Jaguars team.
I can still criticize the man for the mistakes he made in the past. We're talking about a career here. We're talking an overall body of work.
About this year.
This year, he did a good job. This year, he laughed in the face of the clown faces.
But you also said you were thinking of Balky when we took Trayvon Walker. You've seen what Trayvon Walker's done so far.
He's looked good. I still think Hutchinson looks better.
I'd rather have Walker. Walker does more for the defense.
I like Hutchinson better. I feel like he's a better player.
I don't think he does. He really fit with us more though than Trayvon Walker.
Now Walker probably fits the team better. Hutchinson is a perfect fit in Detroit. He's a Detroit boy. He's a hometown hero in Detroit. So it works out. But if I was building a team from scratch and I had to pick between the two, I had the number 1 overall pick, I would have taken Hutchinson.
Devin Lloyd, by the way, he's been a complete baller, man. It's like he's all over the field. He's just a wild card on the other side of the ball.
And yeah, I was excited because the Walker pick disappointed me, but then we traded up to get Devin Lloyd.
I didn't really know much about him until they showed that tape. I'm like, yeah.
When we traded up to get him 27th overall, I'm like, now this is a good move. That Walker pick was questionable, but this is a good move. This is solid. This is exactly what this defense needs.
Yeah, we really, especially losing Miles Jack. He's really filled in for him real well.
I miss Miles Jack. Miles Jack's still running.
Never down.
Still running. And the free agency class has been great. Christian Kirk everyone looked at the Christian Kirk contract and said, why? Even I said, hey, I don't think he deserves that much money, but if you
gotta overpay though.
Like if you have that kind of money to spend to get the guy, then go for it. I probably wouldn't have paid him that much money, but he's earning it. He broke the receiver market. He was the reason why all the receivers started getting paid these massive deals.
Well, Zay Jones also, I think, has been a nice, reliable target too so far.
Zay Jones, I feel like, is still like primed to break out in this offense.
He's a nice, reliable target for them.
This was a good year of drafting and free agency for the Jaguars.
No, it was.
Balky's still not off the hook for everything that came before this, but this year has been good.
He's in some good weather right now. But one of my most
no clowns in Doomball.
My most favorite one, well, not my most favorite one, but a nice underrated pickup we got was, I'm gonna butcher the name, the linebacker we got from Atlanta.
Yes, I know who you're talking about. Boye?
Well, yeah.
Aluakun.
Yeah, I was gonna say somewhere along the lines of that. He's been flying everywhere with Devin Lloyd. Man,
Aluakun impressed me so much during the preseason.
Linebackers have been flying around everyone on the second level.
But I think Devin Lloyd has a good case for Defensive Rookie of the Year. Right now, I think he's the most deserving candidate if the season were to end right here, right now.
If the season ended right now, he would be the winner.
There's still a lot of football left to be played. But up next, the offensive and defensive players of the week. And the offensive player of the week for week 4 in the NFL is Detroit tight end T.J. Hockenson. The Lions and Seahawks got into an absolute shootout, and even though the Lions did not come away victorious, Hockenson had a career day with 8 receptions, 179 yards, averaging well over 22 yards per catch, scoring 2 touchdowns with his longest catch going for 81 yards. It was his first 2-touchdown performance in the NFL. And our defensive player of the week, Hassan Reddick of the Philadelphia Eagles. 4 tackles, 2 sacks, and 2 fumbles recovered for Hassan Reddick. The 5 forced turnovers helped the Eagles remain undefeated against Jacksonville Jaguars, with Reddick accounting for 2 of the 5 takeaways. And as always, if anybody knows the whereabouts of Kadarius Toney, please inform Brian Dable of the New York Giants. I'm sure he's itching to get him involved in the New York offense. And for anyone who hasn't seen the Gideon Ajabe interview on the channel, please check it out. I'll leave a link in the description of this video. And thanks for watching Sports Done Right. Please like, comment, subscribe to the channel. There will not be a show next week due to me going out of town and not being able to record. But 2 weeks from now, we will continue with regularly scheduled programming.
Let go.
Get out. All right. Hello and welcome back to Sports Done Right. I'm your host, Hunter Wright. This is my co-host and brother. Stop! Why do you laugh every time I do this? Are you done?
Yeah.
Why do you do that every time? Why?
There's not a why.